Braviary SIT, today we know Wicked Spirit, featuring the new Mismagius from Silver Tempest with the EV voice attack, placing 2 damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon for only 1 psychic energy. It also has a Spiteful Magic ability that puts 8 damage counter on the attacking Pokemon if it is knocked out with full HP by damage from your opponent's Pokemon. So we're playing this card with the new Hisuian Braviary with the 𝑒 attack, putting 3 damage counter on each of our opponent's Pokemon that already has damage counters on them, spreading a lot of damage with this spooky new combo. We also have our Mimikyu from Lost Origin to do big damage for V-Star and VMAX knockouts after the damage spread with Worst Gift, which does 10 damage for each damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon. For the draw support, we're playing 2 Bibarel, 2 Snorlax, 1 Marnie, 1 Bruno, 1 Bird Keeper, and 1 Serena. This is the new supporter that allows you to choose either to discard up to 3 cards from your hand and then draw cards until you have 5, or to switch one of your opponent's bench Pokemon V with their active. We also have our regular items for the setup, 1 𝑗𝒂𝒄𝒏, 1 Switch, 1 Bird Keeper, and 1 Scuba for the switch, 1 Boss and 1 Serena for the extra power play, 1 Rod to show back our Pokemon energies, 1 Old Cemetery and 4 Horror for the extra damage counter placement, 1 Radiant Alakazam to help us move up to 2 damage counter from one of our opponent's Pokemon to another of their Pokemon once during our turn with Painful Spoons. It can also do Mind Ruler for 20 damage times the number of cards in your opponent's hand, and 1 Galarian Rapidash to counter decks that play a minimal bench with heavy V-Star and VMAX tanks using its Libra Horn to reduce their HP down to 100. And then collect a multi-price knockout with our Braviary and Alakazam, or a one-hit knockout on their other Pokemon with Mimikyu. Finally, we have 2 Raihans for Mimikyu Rapidash with 5 basic psychic energies. So that's all for the deck list. Now let's go for some gameplay! Let's go with our first game versus Flying Pikachu VMAX with Bolton VMAX. They got Fluffy Engine and they also got Inteleon, I think. So Flying Pikachu is immune to Mimikyu's Worst Gift attack. We are doing a lot of damage late game, but we cannot actually do anything to the Flying Pikachu because they are preventing all damage done by basics. And we have no evolution attackers except effects of attacks. We are placing damage counter with our Braviary and also Rapidash if we use Libra Horn, so we don't actually need to worry about the damage barrier from Pikachu if we are doing a lot of damage counter placement, but we are only placing 3 damage counter at a time with Braviary. I don't think it's enough even after the Rapidash to knock it out that easily. So be careful of playing your Rapidash just because it gets knocked out very easily, only 210 HP, and we're not playing any Box of Disaster for this deck. We're not playing just because we have only 1 V in this deck. It doesn't really make sense. We are also not playing any Cape of Toughness or Big Charms for the damage for the HP boost, so Rapidash gets killed very easily. Make sure you're aware of the low HP and play it at the right time only when you need to, because if you don't need it, make sure you just don't bench it because you're just gonna lose 2 prize for nothing. Losing 2 prize for Rapidash is quite bad unless if you can do Libra Horn twice. If you are confident that you can use it, you can pull off Libra Horn twice in a game or even once against a VMAX or a V-Star. That's going to help you a lot, then make sure you do it at the right time. Because we have Raihan 2 copies to help us charge it up for a turbo attack. We have our switches as well to do it in a single turn. Libra Horn before they can kill it, before they can knock us out. So at least do it once. If you get boss on the bench before doing your Libra Horn, that would be kind of pointless to play a Rapidash at all. Might as well just not. So here comes the Flying Pikachu. They have the first attack as well for the basic, which actually paralyzes our active. For only 1 turn we can't attack, we can't do anything unless if we get a switch. So we're going to do Gormandize on our first turn. Snorlax is the main engine for this deck. 2 Bibarel. I don't think we would be that unlucky to get both of them prized. If you are that unlucky though, we have our supporter cards and also 2 Snorlax to fall back on, so it's not too bad. Okay, here comes the air balloon. And they're gonna attach it to the Fluffy on the bench. So they need to discard a lot of energies for Pikachu. Not a lot of Silver Tempest deck out yet. So for this video, we didn't manage to capture a Silver Tempest matchup. Unfortunately, I don't think. Not that I can remember. But we are playing a lot of new cards. We are playing not just Mismagius, but also Hisuian Braviary and also the new Radiant Alakazam. Alakazam is super fun to play, especially if you're placing damage counters with your Mismagius, not only with his attack, but also with the Spiteful Magic ability placing 8 damage counter if you get knocked out with full HP by damage from your opponent's attacks. So we also have our Horror Energy and Old Cemetery to place extra damage counters as well. And Hisuian Braviary to basically substitute for an additional attacker, because while you're attacking with your Braviary, you can actually attach an extra energy on your Mimikyu on the bench to prepare for your worst gift on the next turn. If they do a boss though, you need your Raihan for the next Mimikyu. We have our Manaphy for the bench barrier as well, so we are kind of safe for this game, unless if they do Sableye Lost Mine damage counter. If we get hit with damage counter ourselves, I don't think we can win that easily, honestly. If they do Mewtwo V Union, it's quite difficult to win. It's not impossible if you get your Rapidash fast. So Rapidash is basically the main way we want to be winning against a VMAX or a V Union deck if they don't bench a lot of Pokemons as well. If they choose not to bench, if they don't have, Bibarels or anything on the bench for us to hit extra damage with our Eerie Voice and Eerie Cry, if we can't place extra damage counters, if they only have like 2 or 3 Pokemons in play, we cannot actually do a knockout with our Mimikyu. Mimikyu is not doing a knockout that easily, and even with Radiant Alakazam helping you transferring to the active, it may not be enough for you to knock it out with Worst Gift. So Worst Gift may not do enough damage for you to deal with the V Union because it has so much HP or even a VMAX. Okay, we got our Horror Energy, and now we're just gonna draw a switch card. We didn't get a switch card, unfortunately. So we're gonna just Gormandize again. I don't think we should be playing Painful Spoons, because there's no point transferring the damage counters. We should be using it while we can, though. So let's just transfer from the Flaffy to the Bolton. Just 1 damage counter would be enough. And then hit with Braviary a few times. So if we transfer right now, that means we would have like 5 Pokemons in play on our opponent's field. 5 of our opponent's Pokemon in play with damage counters. And if they have 5 Pokemons with damage counters, we can actually place 15 damage counters on our opponent's field with Braviary, because we are placing 3 damage counter on all of their bench Pokemon, including the active, except for that 1 extra bench if they, put a new one on the next turn. Okay, they're playing Cynthia for some reason. If they do a Cheryl, I would be very, very depressed, because Cheryl on the Pikachu, I don't think we can knock out the Pikachu though, so I think we should be focusing on knocking out 3 of the 1 prize on the bench with like the Bolton, because Bolton is giving us 3 prizes. They just evolved it, which is kind of the wrong move, I would say. So evolving a second VMAX, which doesn't have the special effect to prevent damage done from basic Pokemons, because we are playing our Mimikyu and Alakazam, but I don't think they're aware that we only are having basic attackers. You never know though what your opponent is playing, so I guess they're kind of prepared just in case they have a Bolton on the bench. We're gonna get another Mimikyu just in case the first one get bossed. And now we're gonna do our Eerie Cry while attaching an energy, if we have one, onto the second Mimikyu. We don't have the Mimikyu, so we're trying to dig out the energy. We didn't play our Braviary. Always play your Braviary while you can, because if you get bossed, you don't get to play your Spiteful Magic. If your Mismagius get bossed knocked out, at least you get to place extra damage counter with his ability. If you get bossed with your Braviary, you're doing less damage counter with your Mismagius this turn, and also getting knocked out without placing damage counters with Braviary. So always attack with Braviary while you can. We actually could have done it, but we chose to play a Bird Keeper because we wanted to draw out the energy, but we got no energies because now we couldn't play the Mimikyu. I didn't realize that Flying Pikachu is immune to Mimikyu's attack though, just because Mimikyu is a basic. So we should be playing a boss on the next turn to target the Bolton. But for this game, at this point, I didn't realize that Pikachu is doing Max Balloon. So always be aware what your opponent is doing, and kind of be alert of their strategy. I have no idea why, but I totally forgot about Max Balloon. Don't ask me why, but while I was playing this game, I totally forgot about Pikachu. And then at the last minute, always at the last second, I remembered, oh, shit, I can't actually do any damage. And I have to do a boss right now. Or an escape rope. So if we transfer, they're gonna do a boss right now. They actually did it. I'm quite depressed because we get to place 3 damage counter on the last turn, but we just did not do it. Which is a bit depressing because now we need so much more damage counters to knock out the Flaaffy. We need so many more turns to deal with both the Flaaffys on the bench. They have a Manaphy though, which only has 70 HP, so that means we can transfer with our Alakazam onto the Manaphy and slowly kill it off with our Painful Spoon and Eerie Voice. So we have no more Braviary. We have another one in our hand, so we can actually do another Cry on the next turn if they don't boss again. If we Cry though, I think we got the knockout on the Flaaffys and the Manaphy. So we should be transferring 2 onto the Manaphy this turn, and then place 2 more with Eerie Voice, doing Mismagius, and then on the next turn, 3 more damage counters is enough to kill off, you know, both Manaphys and both Flaaffys and the Manaphy. Oh, I think we decided to kill the VMAX this turn. I think we chose to kill the VMAX this turn. I'm not sure what we did actually. We don't have an energy, so I don't think we can kill the VMAX yet. We need to draw an energy. So I feel like we should have done the boss later. If we do the boss, if we keep it too late though, it would be a bit difficult to do it because we need a Raihan. We can't play a boss anymore. We actually discarded the boss. Oh my goodness. Okay, I have no idea what I'm gonna do here actually. We played a Serena, I bet. So we got the Psychic Energy. And we're gonna do Eerie Voice this turn apparently. I honestly have no idea what I'm gonna do. We should be benching the Rufflet though. I don't know what I'm doing. Like if we bench the Rufflet, we could have killed all 3 of the 1 prize. Oh, I get it now. I think we should be attacking. If we have 2 energies, like one on each of the Mimikyu, then a boss is not gonna affect us unless if they have Crushing Hammer. You never know if they have Crushing Hammer though, which is annoying. But if they don't play Crushing Hammer, we got one of the Mimikyus on the next turn, and we just need 1 energy. That means we get to play Serena to target the VMAX on the bench. And after that, we can think about getting out our Braviary. But we actually discarded the second copy, which means we need to play the Rod. So we need to play a Raihan first, but we can't play a Raihan because we need to do Serena. So it's kind of, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like we should not be discarding the Braviary, since we need the damage counter to kill off the Flaaffy and the Manaphy. So if we transfer to the Manaphy, we still need 3 damage counter. We have 2 turns to transfer though. So if we transfer to the Flaaffy from the Bolton before knocking it out, I think we have enough to kill the Bolton. So we have 19 on Pikachu. That means we're doing 19 plus 4, 7, 5, 7, and 2. How much is that? 9. I think we're doing 440. I kind of remember that number from somewhere. So 140 plus 50 plus 90, 110. That's 250. 350 plus 90, 440, right? So 440 damage is enough to kill out the Bolton. It doesn't matter where the damage counter is at, it's gonna be dead. So we should be transferring all the damage counter from Bolton if we can, but we can't. So we should be transferring all of it onto their other Pokemon so that we can spread it later to kill for another 3 prize, a multi-prize kill to win the game by drawing the remaining 3 prizes. If we transfer to the Manaphy right now, we can transfer to the Fluffy on the next turn, and then do Braviary for the 3 prize kill. If they do a boss on the Rufflet though, I don't think we can win that easily anymore. Because then we have no more snipe, we have no more spread, damage spread strategy. Then we would need an escape rope and a boss, but we already played the boss, we discarded the boss, and we're playing a Serena right now. That means we have no more ways of getting the Pikachu into the active from the bench. If we play an escape rope, we can kill something else, but we can't boss back the Pikachu. So there's no way we can kill off the Pikachu, actually, unless if we do slowly knock it out with our Mismagius, because Mismagius can actually place damage counters on it if it has full HP. Okay. We have to transfer to Manaphy. If they scoop up even 1 Pokemon, we're done for. So this is the limitation of this deck. If they heal, if they scoop up, we can't actually do much. But if they heal though, we have one other Mimikyu. We have what's it called? The separate print of Mimikyu from Vivid Voltage, which actually blocks all bench Pokemon from healing. So that means they can't actually play Serena. There is the new Radiant Serena that actually helps you heal 20 damage from each of your Pokemon in play. That means, Mismagius is gonna get nullified. They can actually reverse Eerie Voice in a single turn, like Wipe Clean with Fresh Water even, or Radiant Serena. So they can use abilities to heal as well, or Cheryl to heal all of their evolution Pokemons on the bench, including the active. If they are, if all of their Pokemons are evolved, they can heal everything everywhere. So if we play the Mimikyu though, if we have that heal jamming ability set up on the bench, we can actually deny them from healing any damage counters on the bench. That means they're gonna have to retreat and then do another switch. Switch retreat to attack back with the same Pokemon after recovering with the Cheryl if they want to play the recovery on the active. They have to retreat to the bench before recovering. If they have to move to the active before recovering. They have to move to the active, heal the damage, and then, retreat back to the bench. Because if you heal with a Cheryl, you have to discard all energies. That means you actually have to move back to the bench and attack with something else. Okay, here comes the Pikachu. They actually did Hyper Potion on the Pikachu when they should be doing Hyper Potion on the Fluffy. Right? If they do Hyper Potion on the Fluffy, I don't think we can win either. We have Escape Rope though. We can Escape Rope and kill something else before doing the Snipe for the final 2 prize draw. If we Escape Rope, we can kill for 1 prize before playing the Spread Knockout. But I'm not sure if that's possible though. We should be doing the Spread Knockout first. If we do the Spread Knockout with Mismagius, we shouldn't be playing, well, I don't think we have Mismagius anymore. So if we play Braviary, I think we would have enough damage counter on the Pikachu for us to kill something else with an Escape Rope. So we would have 10 damage counter on the Pikachu and another 3 on like the Greninja or something like that. And that would be enough to kill anything on the bench. Unless if they put another V Pokemon, Escape Rope's not gonna help us after that. So for every game that you play, there's always a chance of winning. There's always a small chance of losing the game. You never know what's gonna happen, honestly. But there are, overpowered cards like Lugia V-Star right now, which is gonna be so powerful. And you have so much higher, your win rate is that much higher that you don't really need to do much. Even if you make mistakes, you can quite easily recover within a single turn and then, just collect prizes like crazy and win the game so easily. Lugia with Archeops, insane. The craziest combo. you can basically attach special energy. We have all the types of special energy. We have heat energy, speed energy, coating, aromatic for all the types, aurora even. So I don't think you can, anything can counter that. You just need to play Pumpkaboo enough stadiums to remove Temple of Sinnoh, and then you're good to go to attack with any Pokemon you want. You can play your amazing rares. You can play Lugia with powerful energy, double turbo for Blissey or anything. It's just crazy. It's bonkers. Double Archeops in a single turn. Okay, right now we're up against a Lost Box. Sorry about that. We're gonna see if we can win against a one prize. They do have Scoop Up Net. I'm aware that they have Scoop Up Net. But they actually played more Switch Card. Surprisingly, they have more Switch Card than the Scoop Up Net. Because I suppose they need to be playing Escape Ropes for Weezing. If you play against Weezing, the first Escape Rope is gonna help you. Because they can't actually play double Boost Shake on the first turn. They can actually do Boost Shake and then that's it, right? They can't have two Weezings on the bench going first on their first turn. Well, two Weezings in play, my bad. One on the bench and one in the active. If they go second though, it's still not possible, right? If they go second, they can ascend. They can either do Ascension or a Boost Shake. They can't do both. So that means they can't actually have two Weezings in play on the first turn. And that means on the first turn, you can play Escape Rope for you to do your Flower Select, for you to play your ability for only that one turn, but at least it's one turn. Sometimes one turn is all it takes for you to play, to get enough cards losted, to get your Colress into your hand, to lost enough cards for you to play your Mirage Gate, and then after that, you can attack quite easily with the other Pokemons. You don't even need Cramorant. Because Cramorant has no ability, it cannot actually attack if they play Weezing. So Lost Box actually needs a couple of Escape Ropes. I would recommend 3 copies because Scoop Up Net is quite strong. If you play against damage counter decks like Sableye, even Mismagius right now, or Braviary, Scoop Up Net is going to help you recover all damage counters. Which is going to be really annoying for your opponent, which is, it's gonna be really annoying for us if they scoop up at the last second. So they have Switch Card, which is healing on the bench. So we should be playing our Mimikyu from Vivid Voltage, but we actually didn't bench it that early this turn. We didn't even bench it after that, after they played the first few Switch Cards. I don't know why. I think we need to keep on benching our attackers. If we don't have enough attackers on the next turn, just because we are evolving, that means we need to bench either a Rufflet or an extra Mismagius on the bench, or even a Mimikyu to prepare the energies for the attack. We may not get the Raihan, so we need to attach on your hand, but I think it would actually be better if we bench the ability support, because locking them from healing is a big deal since they are playing a one prize deck. So locking them from healing on the bench would mean that Switch Card is not going to work, because they actually need to switch. They need to put that Pokemon into the bench spot before doing the recovery. That means while it is on the bench, Mimikyu is going to lock that Switch Card from healing their bench Pokemon. Okay, Fog Crystal. I think they're actually playing Sableye. So they are playing Sableye, which means both players are trying to damage counter for the win. So they do have Cramorant for early kills, but we do have our ability to place extra damage counters. So we're going to play Braviary right now. We're going to do our Radiant Alakazam to transfer 2 damage counter from the Cramorant in the active spot onto one of the Comfeys on the bench, and that actually gives us extra 3 damage counter on another Pokemon with our Eerie Cry using Braviary's first attack for 0 energy. I forgot to mention that it's a 0 energy attack actually throughout, like, until thus far. I didn't mention it just because it's kind of obvious for a Hisuian Pokemon to have a 0 energy attack. So 3 damage counter is exactly enough to kill off the Cramorant because it has 10 HP remaining, and we just transferred 2 to another Pokemon. that actually is conserving the amount of damage counters that we're placing on our opponent's Pokemon. We're spreading in a very calculative way, in a very decisive manner. So we actually get to save those damage counters instead of placing 3 damage counter and having 2 wasted on the Cramorant. We actually save those 2 with our Alakazam. So that's the powerful thing of your Painful Spoons. You actually get to move around and, you know, play around with those damage counters after using your Mismagius, after doing Eerie Cry with Braviary. Okay, here comes more flower selects. Cramorant is kind of a little too weak though. They need Articuno. If they don't play Articuno, they can't kill the Braviary. They can't kill the Alakazam. They can't kill Snorlax or Bibarel. All they can do is knock out our basics or the Mismagius. And if they do kill the Mismagius with the Horror Energy as well, they're gonna get punished by up to 10 damage counters. Colress, Mega Lost. I'm quite sad that they kind of just leave one set for the lost cards. I know it's expected because it's the same for Sun and Moon, but come on, like, why is it just 1 expansion? Shouldn't it be like at least 2 expansion? Fusion Strike as well is just ridiculous. Fusion Strike Pokemon only 1 set. What's going on here? Like, this makes no sense, does it? Why? I'm not sure if it's that powerful now. I mean, Mew VMAX is still quite powerful, but I'm not sure if it's qualified as one of the top metas. So I don't think you should be cutting off an entire faction from the TCG just because, I don't know what reason they are doing it for. Just to make room for more factions, I guess. We have Radiant Pokemon now. Radiant Pokemon is actually replacing for Amazing Rares, I guess. Prism Star, but you know, we have Amazing Rare to kind of substitute for Prism Star Pokemon on the last set. Sorry, on the last generation. And instead of Amazing Rare, now we have Radiant Pokemons, I think. I'm not sure what it's supposed to substitute for, honestly. We have GX, now we have V. We used to have Tag Team, now we have V-Star. So instead of Tag Team, we actually have VMAX for the 3 price. And instead of GX, we have our V and V-Star. Right? Because if you evolve your GX, your opponent still takes 2 price for a knockout. If you evolve your V Pokemon, your opponent can actually take 3 price if you evolve into a VMAX. If you evolve into a V-Star, they take 2 price. So it's quite interesting. It's kind of, you know, it's between Tag Team and GX. It's kind of a mesh between those two. So Tag Team has more power, I guess. Higher HP is kind of like a V-Union. Tag Team is almost like a V-Union, isn't it? Except it does have that GX attack. But now we have V-Star power, which is the same as the GX attack. Which is a bit depressing because it only works for, you know, you only have V-Star power for your V-Star Pokemons, which is only one very tiny set of Pokemons. Whereas for your GX, it actually works for all Pokemons, right? It works for your Tag Team, it works for your basic GX, for your Evolution GX is just crazy. All GXs have a GX attack. Whereas now we only have V-Star Pokemon with V-Star power. We have the tool card, but it doesn't really qualify for a substitute because we have Normalium. Like Normalium and, you know, Flyinium, Dragonium, all those tool cards are actually much better than the new Seal tool cards, Forest Seal and Earthen Seal. Those cards are actually quite bad as compared to the Flyinium and all those Z powers. I think those are actually better because you get to attach them to any Pokemon with those attacks. If you have normal attack, you get to use that, you know, you get to use the tool card, but you actually have to, you need to have that tool, you need to have the normal attack though. I forgot about that. So it's kind of the same thing, because if you attach it to a V Pokemon, you get to use the tool card for your Seal, whereas the restriction for Sun and Moon is that you need to have the specific attack. If you don't have the normal attack, you cannot attach you cannot use Normalium, you cannot use the GX attack Normalium. So it's kind of a balance, I guess. A nice balance is always, I guess, is always fair. In a way. I really don't know. It's always fair, but I just kind of feel like it's getting a little bit more tight. Like the game is there is a lot of illusion going. It's just a little bit more tight though. I feel like even if you're only allowed to attach to Pokemon with specific attacks, I feel like it's still kind of more free than only being allowed to attach to your V Pokemons, because that means you can't play for your one prize. You can't play the Seal for your one prize decks. One prize decks cannot use V-Star power, whereas for Sun and Moon, one prize decks, one prize cards can actually use GX attacks. And that's a big difference. That's a big difference. Like, come on. Okay, they are playing Sableye. And they just killed the Mismagius with damage counters. That means they're not getting punished by its ability. And we have no more Mismagius. We only have one Rod, but we actually have a lot of attackers for this deck. So we should not be required to shuffle back that many Pokemons. If you want to shuffle back, you should be shuffling back either the Mismagius or the Mimikyu with your Alakazam. You should be shuffling back the Alakazam, but when I first started building this deck, I started off with 2 Rods, and now eventually I went down to only 1 copy because I decided, you know what, if we don't have any more Mismagius, we can just attack with our Braviary. Alakazam is going to help us spread more damage onto all, you know, transfer onto more Pokemons for us to hit more damage counter with our 𝑗𝒂𝒂𝒏, doing 3 damage counter at a time on all of their Pokemon. That's a lot. So if we run out of Mismagius, we have our Braviary. If we run out of our Braviary, we have our Mimikyu. We have a lot of attackers. We can even do Mind Ruler. Don't forget an attack. Don't disregard your Alakazam, because it can still do a decent amount of damage with Mind Ruler. 20x damage for each card in your opponent's hand is still a lot. And they may not be aware of its attack. Even if they are though, they have to sacrifice a few cards from their hand, and that's actually helping us disrupt their gameplay in a way, in a sense. So it's still a plus either way, whatever happens. And I just realized that for this game, we couldn't pull off a Bibarel. We didn't manage to use Industrious Incisor a single time, I don't think. We did not use Bibarel's ability a single time, which is really, really weird, because we should be able to do it at least once. I think they did a boss early, I don't know. Okay, 3 damage counter on all Pokemons, and now we got 2 prize. So now we just need 1 more hit to kill both the Manaphy and the Oranguru. That means we just need to evolve the final Braviary. I'm pretty sure we have the second evolution inside the deck. I'm pretty sure we checked just now. So we just need another evolution and we win the game, unless if they get the scoop up net. If they scoop up the Manaphy, then we're done for, because Sableye is gonna get them like 1 prize at a time. I'm not sure if they can collect extra prizes with Sableye though, because we can evolve the Rufflet, but we can't evolve the Mimikyu. So if they kill the Mimikyu and place like 5 damage counter on the Rufflet, that means they can place another 5 on another Pokemon on the next turn, but I don't think it's enough though. We just need to be careful not to bench another Pokemon. If they kill off both the Braviary, then we have, well, they can't do that though. If they target the Mimikyu, they can't kill off both the Braviary. If they Lost Mind knock out both Braviaries, we have our Alakazam to attack eventually, and that's gonna help us collect our final one prize after doing after doing 𝒂𝒑𝒂𝒏 for another. So we can collect at least one prize if they don't scoop up both the Manaphy and the Oranguru, because I don't think they're playing that many scoop up nets. They would have scooped up by now if they don't, if they have more than one copy. Apparently they're only playing one copy though, because we just saw one in the discard pile. Maybe they have a few in the prize, I'm not sure. So here comes the evolution, and here comes the final 2 prize draw. Braviary. Finally a good Braviary, right? Like, there's so many Braviary that doesn't actually work. Even the non-Hisuian ones. And we got the final 2 prize for the win. Victory goes to the Voodoo Witch. Mr. Cherubim. Gardevoir. There's a Kirlia now. Kirlia with Chinchino's ability, and now it gets to evolve into the Shining Arcana Gardevoir, which is gonna be a lot more broken. We used to have Mirage Step though, so well, we still have it actually. So we can actually play like 2 copies of the Kirlia in our deck and 2 copies of the new one from Silver Tempest. That means we can Mirage Step for 3 Kirlias on the bench, and we can actually draw cards with those Kirlias as well, while while waiting for the evolution on Gardevoir. Okay, right now we're up against a VMAX V-Star deck, playing Shadow Rider with Mewtwo. So are we able to win against a heavy tanker? We need our Rapidash. I don't think we should be benching it that early though. If they have a Cresselia, they can charge up for Mewtwo to kill the for Mewtwo to knock out our Rapidash fast. So Cresselia is gonna help them deal with the Rapidash on the second turn after we use our first Libra Horn. We can still use our first one, but that's it. And if we use it before they evolve, we don't have enough damage counters in the game. It would kind of defeat the purpose of playing a Rapidash, because you're only playing Libra Horn for 11 damage counter, and while your opponent is doing a knockout for 2 prize, you're barely collecting 1 prize. So 12 damage counter or 11 damage counter on the Shadow Rider is kind of really low. It's not even enough to kill a Cresselia, because Cresselia has 120 HP. So it's kind of equivalent to, half, almost a 1 prize draw. Okay, here comes Shadow Rider VMAX and Mewtwo V-Star. So some of the deck lists, some of the games have a weird deck list. For some of the games, we don't have that many Raihans, we don't have that many supporters. We have a lot more Bibarels, because I thought we need it, but we don't actually have the space to bench it. So we eventually decided to play only 2 copies and like an extra Snorlax. Normally I play only 1 copy of Snorlax for my decks and like a Heavy Ball, but now we have 2 Snorlax without the ball. So Heavy Ball is gonna help you get your Radiant Alakazam from the prize, but I don't think I really want to play it, because if you don't play 4 copies of your item, you're never gonna get it. Like, if you don't play 4 Level Ball, 4 VIP Pass, if you don't play cards in 4, you're just never gonna get your basic Pokemons. They will not let you bench your basic on the first turn. They are forcing people to play 4 copies now. I don't know why, don't ask me why. If you don't play a solid 4 Level Ball, 4 Quick Ball, 4 VIP Pass, whatever, you're never gonna get it. Like, you can play 10 games in a row, they're just never gonna give you that. They won't give you your Level Ball, they're gonna give you a shit hand every turn, because your opponent is playing 4 copies. If your opponent is playing 4 copy and you have 3 copy in your deck, you're not gonna get it. I'm sorry. We don't even have a capture for this deck. We're not allowed to play a capture because we need Psychic Energy for Mismagius. If we attach capture on Mismagius, we can't attack. We can attach capture on Alakazam or Mimikyu though, because they have colorless cost, Psychic and 1 colorless. Or even Rapidash, I forgot. Librahorn. Oh my goodness. We are taking a risk because they can do a boss right now. They can switch to a boss and attach 1 energy from their hand to kill off the Rapidash. Do they need to discard 3? Nope, because they have a choice belt. 180 plus 30 is exactly enough. So they just need to discard 2 energy from Mewtwo or something else. And they got a V knockout early. I don't think we should be benching the Rapidash, but I think we did it because we have no choice. In a way. We played an Ultra Ball though. We actually got it with an Ultra Ball. If we want to be playing a Rapidash, we should be benching it on the last turn, right? Instead of getting the Alakazam that early, we should be getting the Rapidash first and then the Alakazam. It doesn't make a difference though, because we don't have enough energies in our hand to attach anyways. If we attach to the Rapidash, we would be able to... They would not evolve though. If we attach to Rapidash, they would give us like no evolution until the last minute. If they don't evolve, they can't draw cards. So I guess we are kind of putting pressure on them with the Rapidash with an early bench. Unless, I'm just kind of scared with Cresselia. If they do Cresselia, they can actually charge up the Mewtwo real fast. And they don't need to evolve, right? They can leave all their Pokemon as the basic while passing the turn doing Crescent Glow. And then on the next turn, Mass Evolve, use Mewtwo Cypurge to knock out our Rapidash, denying us another Librahorn on the next turn. While also denying us to hit a VMAX on the last turn, or a V-Star. So Cresselia, we got hit by Cresselia one time against a Shadow Rider Alcremie deck. I don't think we can win against a Shadow Rider Alcremie if we don't get our Mismagius fast. We need to do Mismagius and then, because they need a lot of bench though. They need a lot of bench Pokemons. We cannot actually afford to play our Rapidash against one-hit KO deck. If they can kill your Rapidash fast, and if they choose not to evolve until they kill off your Rapidash, then Rapidash is not going to help you a lot. It's just worthless. So make sure you play it at the right time. If you bench it too early, they're going to do a boss. If you play it at the last second, if you do it at the last minute, you can actually play a Raihan and then search for a switch card, attach a Psychic Energy from your hand, and you're good to go to do Librahorn, hitting a VMAX for big damage counter. And then on your next turn, you can play Mimikyu's Worst Gift. After doing, obviously you would have done a couple of your Eerie Voice, Eerie Cry before your Librahorn by then, because you need to have one of your Pokemon knocked out on your last turn before you're able to play a Raihan. That means you would have a few damage counters in the game already, in addition to your Librahorn's attack, and that means you would be able to kill any Pokemon in their field with your Worst Gift, in addition to, Alakazam's amazing ability. If you don't have enough damage counters on your on their active, if for example they only have 2 damage counter on their active, you can transfer another 2 from their bench to the active with your Alakazam to basically satisfy the knockout condition with your Worst Gift. And if it's not enough, you can do it again on the next turn. So they can quite easily do a boss to deal with Alakazam, but if they do that, we can actually play our Braviary to collect the knockout on the the damage Pokemon. So we are placing damage counters. That means Manaphy is not gonna work. We're placing damage counter with our Eerie Voice, Mismagius, and also Eerie Cry. A very, very nice combo. Same name as well. Eerie, Hisuian Braviary, and also Mismagius from Silver Tempest. So there is a Japanese player that uses Sableye with Mismagius, which is actually really smart. Sableye, Mismagius, and Mimikyu. Sableye actually helps you play, put more damage counters for the knockout with Lost Mine And if you do comfy, you can actually play your, you know, Mirage Gate for Mimikyu to attack, but I don't think you have the space for Mismagius if you do Mirage Gate with Mimikyu. So you need to play like Raihan instead of Mirage Gate. So Raihan with maybe possibly Palpat, and then Mismagius, Mimikyu, Sableye, I think it would be enough. They even have a Radiant Charizard, so I think that's actually a really consistent deck. Unless if your opponent heals. If our opponent heals, we have our other copy of Mimikyu to deny them from healing the bench. So that's the plus side of this deck. We also have our Rapidash to place early damage counters on VMAX and V-Stars, or even V Pokemons. If they can't knock us out on the next turn, we got another shot to target another V Pokemon even if they don't evolve. We are placing 11 up to 12 damage counter on both V Pokemons early game if we get our energies fast, and if they can't knock it out on the next turn. So sometimes it's better to bench it early, sometimes it's just not a good idea. But I would say 9 times out of 10, don't bench your Rapidash early, because it's a huge risk. It's just way too risky. Arceus V-Star with Choice Belt is enough to kill off the Rapidash with the boss as well. They can Star Birth for double turbo and boss, or like double turbo and Choice Belt and you're done. So you can't actually play Rapidash if you're up against an Arceus. You should not be benching that. Most games we don't need to rely on the Rapidash though, unless if we don't have enough damage counters. We would have enough if they bench enough Pokemons. Because we have the ability as well. Spiteful Magic is placing damage counter as well. 8 damage counter is a lot. In addition to the attack, the ability, the Horror Energy, the transfer with Alakazam, and also the Old Cemetery. We are only playing one copy though. We initially had a 𝒂𝒑𝒑 for this deck, but we realized that 𝒂𝒑𝒑 is not working for Mismagius. If you play 𝒂𝒑𝒑, you have to put damage counter on your own Pokemon. If you have a Misdreavus on your hand, if you bench a Misdreavus with 𝒂𝒑𝒑𝒑 in play, you're gonna damage it, and that means after evolving into the Mismagius, you cannot use his ability anymore, because the ability demands you to have full HP. If Mismagius has no, has any damage counters on it, then it cannot use the Spiteful Magic ability. That ability does not work anymore. You can't place damage counter for the knockout. They can actually kill you for 0 punishment. It only has 90 HP, that means you can actually play Rescue Carrier as well. We tried Rescue Carrier, but we actually need Rod for Alakazam and Braviary if we want to save those specific Pokemons. I think it's just better to play 2 Rods if you can, instead of 1 Rod and 1 Rescue Carrier. We initially tried that, it doesn't really work that well, because, if you keep getting bossed on your Alakazam, it's gonna be really bad, because you can't actually cycle that card that easily if you don't play that many Rods. You're gonna have to dig it out with your Raihan, and I don't think we even had that many copies of Raihan when we first built this deck. 2 copies is not too bad though, because we don't need it until the very end. So I don't think we should be playing more than 2. We have no Palpats though, because we are only playing 2 Bibarels. I don't think we need to be discarding that many. We have Marnie, Bruno to shuffle the deck, to shuffle our hand. Shuffle or put the hand at the bottom. Okay, this is a very interesting game. We're up against a 1 price Charizard stage 2 deck, big damage output, but also they have a lot of cycle cards. They have a lot of Rods, they have a lot of rare candies. They can actually attack, they can tank a lot of damage. 170 HP is a lot. They even have Heat Energy, but they are doing Magma Basin though. So Magma Basin is kind of reducing their HP, but it's basically reversing the Heat Energy's effect. If they have a Heat Energy attached with a Magma Basin effect, that means they have the same amount of HP. They have the same HP after doing the Magma Basin. They have a very interesting build. They have Oranguru with Mew and Crobat V. I don't think you should be playing a Crobat though for one price deck, but we have a Rapidash, so it's kind of, I think you're allowed to have at least one V Pokemon in your deck, because it's the meta game. If you're up against the meta deck, I don't think you stand a chance. If you're up against Goodra V-Star, we have our Rapidash as our secret weapon to basically keep on playing Libra Horn until they run out of their switches, until they run out of their heals. They only have one Moisture Star and a couple of Hyper Potions, I guess. Eventually they're gonna run out of it. So we need to be playing our rods for the Rapidash. If you're matched up against a Goodra V-Star, you have a very low chance of winning, but you still at least have, you know, some chance, some opportunities, right? You have at least a tiny percentage of winning the game with your Rapidash rather than completely having no chance at all if you don't play that card. You can play a Miltank, but I don't like doing a Miltank. It's kind of a really dumb way of playing the game. It's really, really stupid if you win with a Miltank. It's like so fucking stupid. Winning the game with nothing but a Miltank is just really, really dumb. It makes the game so stupid. This is not a game for babies. Come on. Okay, here comes the evolution. Do they have the rare candy? Are they gonna knock us out right now? We need to evolve. We got the level ball, but they can quite easily do the rare candy right now and switch. There we go, they got it. If we evolve first though, if we evolve on our last turn, we would have been able to place extra damage counter on the Charizard, but for some reason we couldn't get it out. We got so many balls though. Level ball, I think this is a different list. This is not that consistent. We have like way too many Bibarels. We have like 4 level balls now for Mismagius, and in addition to that, they didn't do the switch. They didn't actually do the switch, surprisingly. I was quite sure they did it. Oh well. Haha, better. Anyways, we have 3 Ultra Balls and 2 Incense for Braviary, Bibarel, and also Mismagius. So let's dig for Braviary. We should be playing Bird Keeper, but I don't think we can afford to play that card. So we have 2 Marnie for this list. Very interesting. Eventually, we decided to cut down on not just Bibarel, but also the supporter cards, because I think we are playing way too many for this game. Maybe like 1 extra Marnie and 1 extra Serena with 2 Bibarels. I think it's still really good though to play a lot of Serenas with your Bibarel, because Serena helps you discard your hand if you choose not to play it for the boss effect. If you use 1 Serena for the draw though, you should be using the other one for the boss effect. If you use 1 for the draw, you can't actually afford to waste another copy for another draw. So Serena is kind of tricky. You can't actually play it that many times as a draw support. It's kind of an alternate. It's almost like a boss. If you get a boss in your hand, you can't actually play it. If you do a boss stall, it would be kind of a waste. You are risking your opponent not drawing a switch card. If they do get a switch, then boss is basically reversed with nothing but an item card. Boss has no value if you use it at the wrong time. But sometimes you don't have a choice though. If you want to draw more cards with Bibarel, if you want to, buy an extra turn, possibly you don't have a choice but to gamble for that chance, for that tiny chance. They got 2 Charizards now in play, and we got only our first hit. I think we hit twice though. Oh no, we have Old Cemetery, and they did a Basin on the second one. So that means we only did our eerie voice once, which is really, really bad. For some reason, we couldn't get our evolution. So now we got 8 damage counter on the active. They have a Crushing Hammer for some reason. I have no idea why. It's just a really weird list that they are doing. Crushing Hammer, and they even have a Lucky Ice Pop you'll see later, which is really, really weird for Charizard. But I guess it makes sense. Because Crushing Hammer helps you buy, possibly buy an extra turn for you to evolve the stage 2. And Lucky Ice Pop is helping you tank more damage, I guess. Because you have Heat Energy, and 170 HP is a lot for stage 2. And you get to possibly survive one hit, and then Lucky Ice Pop to survive another on the next turn. If you're lucky. Because you get to keep on recovering 20 HP at a time until you recover for a full restore. Possibly. It's still like a possibility though, isn't it? Okay, we're just gonna charge out the Mimikyu even though we know we might not need it. We're just gonna do it just in case. They have a Crobat though, so we should be targeting the Crobat at some point with the Mimikyu. Because that's 2 price. I don't think we can knock out all the Charmanders on the bench before they evolve. It would be way too difficult. Okay, we're gonna get a Braviary. We're gonna place damage counters on 4 Pokemons. We got 12 damage counters with Braviary, which is the same thing as a Mismagius, isn't it? 3 damage counter on 4 Pokemon is the same as 2 damage counter on 6 Pokemons. 3, 4, 2, 6. Same thing. Okay. Painful Spoons. I love the name of the ability. Transfer. So cool. It's quite restricted though. It is a basic, I guess, and there isn't such an ability before. I don't think there's ever such a card that allows you to transfer damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon for a basic. We used to have Reuniclus for Dragon's Exalted. If you watch my channel, you know I'm a big fan of Reuniclus. Reuniclus allows you to transfer damage counter. Oh, I think it's on your own Pokemon, my bad. So Reuniclus allows you to transfer damage counter from one of your Pokemon to another of your Pokemon in any way you like, as often as you like during your turn. Whereas Dusknoir is the one from XY expansion, I think. I'm not sure if it's XY series or Black and White, but Dusknoir allows you to transfer in any way you like, as often as you like, 1 damage counter at a time from one of your opponent's Pokemon to another of their Pokemon, however you like, which is really, really crazy. And then after that, we have Meowstic. I think it's XY. Dusknoir, I'm pretty sure Dusknoir is Black and White, if I'm not mistaken. And then Meowstic from XY, the very first XY series, I think. I'm not sure now. It's way too old, sorry guys. But one of the Meowstic from XY expansion actually has the attack ear moves, a stage 1, that allows you to move damage counter in any way you like, as often as you like during your, on that turn, because it's an effect of attack. You only get to use that effect when you use the attack. And it's a 1 energy attack, and I don't think it's that powerful because you're passing the turn doing nothing but moving damage counters. So you should be playing like power cards that actually, abilities that place a lot of damage counters on the active or something like that, and then spread it around or something. I don't know. I have no idea how to play that in Expanded, because I don't do Expanded a lot. Expanded decks are really fun though, because you get to mix and match really, really new cards from Silver Tempest with all the way back to Plasma Freeze or something like that. Team Plasma. Oh, I remember those cards. I hate them so much though. Plasma Genesect. I remember that was like really, really crazy at some point. At one stage in the game, people were playing Genesect with like the tool card, and it's like just really, really annoying. Deoxys EX as well. I'm pretty sure it was a Plasma Pokemon, right? Genesect was a Plasma Pokemon. Correct me if I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure it is. Genesect EX. So we're gonna do Raihan on the Alakazam, because we have an energy in our hand. We're gonna get a Rod. So we actually have a rescue carrier for this game because we're planning on recovering the Mismagius more times just because of the ability. When I first built this deck, I thought Mismagius is way stronger than Braviary because it actually has the ability that helps you place another 8 damage counters on your opponent's Pokemon. If they scoop it up though, if they scoop up their Pokemon, they can recover everything. If they scoop up one of their bench, Braviary is not able to hit that much damage counters anymore. So Braviary is actually weaker than Mismagius in a way because you need to have damage counter on all of your opponent's Pokemon to do its max damage output. Whereas Mismagius does not rely on any conditions. It has no conditions for the attack. The ability though has a lot of conditions, obviously. One condition, but a very heavy one. Only one condition, my bad. So we knocked out 2 Pokemons, 1 Charizard and 1 Charmeleon. Now we have 2 more to deal with. And they only have 4 prizes left. Both players actually have the same prize. So we should be doing a boss on the Crobat right now before we run out of our damage counters. So knocking out your opponent's Pokemon means you have a lot less damage counter in play on your opponent's field. That means you can't actually do a knockout that easily with your worst gift anymore. Make sure you're aware of that. If you do a multi-prize knockout with your Braviary or your Mismagius, then you might not have enough damage counter for a VMAX knockout with your Mimikyu. So Mimikyu needs to attack first before you do a multi-prize kill. Mimikyu has to use worst gift to deal with those VMAX and V-Star before you play your Braviary or your Eerie Voice to collect extra prizes by killing off 1 prize supports on the bench. So you have to sequence it right, make sure you do it right, but sometimes, you never know though, some games are different, you have to do certain things differently. It's not always the same. Make sure you adapt to the situation and play the right things at the right time. So right now we're gonna do a boss to collect extra 2 prize on the Crobat. And then we could possibly transfer for the kill. I don't think we would have enough though because they have a heat energy. So that heat energy is actually really annoying right now because they got a lot more HP. They even have Lucky Ice Pop. They didn't get it until the very last minute though, which is quite lucky of us. We got pretty lucky because they didn't get their item until the very end. They did play their Ice Pop on the first few turns, and they got ahead and they play a Marnie after that. So now he's at the bottom, and I don't think they're playing any other shufflers. So they are actually drawing cards with the ability, which is only looking at the top 3 cards of the deck. And that means they can't actually shuffle the deck to put the Lucky Ice Pop at the top anymore. That means they're probably going to get it at the late, near the end of the game, which is right now. Okay, we're going to shuffle back the Braviary because I think we should be doing a multi-prize knockout on the next turn. We have no more Mimikyu, but we do have the Alakazam. Do not ignore that card. It can still do a lot of damage. Like 20x may not be enough to do an instant kill, but it can actually do enough to collect the prize, to collect extra prizes. Because you have a lot of damage counters, your opponent are heavily injured. After you do your Mismagius and Braviary, they would have a lot of damage counters on them, especially if you get extra punishment from Spiteful Magic ability. If you get to use that ability to place even more damage counters, you may actually collect a V-Star knockout with your Mind Ruler. Mind Ruler is only doing 20x damage for each card in your opponent's hand, but it may still be enough since we are punishing them so heavily. We're placing so many damage counters every single turn, and we even get to transfer onto the V-Star VMAX, slowly adding more and more for us to kill it off with our Mind Ruler if we don't have a Mimikyu. If we attack with Alakazam in the active spot though, Alakazam is gonna get knocked out, and that means on the next turn we can't use his ability anymore. So sometimes it's better not to attack with it until the very end, which we are actually doing for this game. So we got our second Braviary, and they have 2 prizes remaining, so I'm not sure if we can win this game, honestly. This is a really close one. Both players have 1 prize left. We drew the prize faster though, a little bit faster. So we're blocking the bench from healing, but we're not blocking the active, and Lucky Ice Pop is healing the active. So Mimikyu is not doing anything. We should be playing like a Dina Tree Hill instead, but they have their Magma Basin, so I don't think it matters if we have a Dina Tree Hill. Dina Tree Hill can actually block them from healing the active as well. But they probably have the stadium in their hand right now. There we go. Lucky Ice Pop, they have a second copy. Like, would you believe it? They actually have a second copy. I have no idea why a Charizard deck have the room. Like, do you even have the space for that item heal? You need rare candies, you need Leon, you need so many supporter cards and your items to make the deck work. You need your Magma Basin. I mean, do you even have the space for that? So, we won the game with Alakazam. Believe it or not, we actually did win. But we have to be very careful though, because we have no energy in our hand. That means we need to play Bird Keeper. And if we played wrong, we can't actually kill the Charizard. We can't draw the remaining prize. If we Bird Keeper to another Pokemon that cannot retreat, then we're gonna have to play our Escape Rope. And if we do Escape Rope, we can't kill the Greninja. We can't kill the Oranguru even, because they only have like 5 cards in their hand. 100 damage is not enough. It's exactly enough to deal with the Charizard though. So we have no choice but to do Bird Keeper on the Alakazam right now and put it in the active. We would probably get an energy. I don't think we have that many basic energy in the discard pile. There we go, we got 2 energies. And we won with Mind Ruler. Make sure you are really careful, because if you transfer too many damage counters, you may not win the game. Be very aware of how many damage counters you have on key Pokemons. I would say key Pokemons that you need to kill. It's better if you can keep track on all of their Pokemons, but I don't think you should be wasting your energy on it too much, because you should be focusing on both players' strategy. Sometimes you have to do stuff to avoid your opponent, to kind of slow them down a bit. You have to do something else. You can't always focus on one thing. You can't be one-dimensional while you're playing this game. You have to be alert in all the different aspects. So I think I'm just gonna end the voice right here and leave you guys to focus on the game. Hope you guys enjoyed this new combo. Today we're featuring the new Mismagius with the new Hisuian Braviary and pairing it with the new Radiant Pokemon Alakazam, using Painful Spoon to transfer damage counter, spreading a lot of damage with our Spiteful Magic ability, and also Eerie Voice, Eerie Cry, and then do big damage with our Mimikyu from Lost Origin. Worst gift for a V-Star VMAX knockout. So that's all for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. We'll see you next time. Have a great day and bye for now, lovely people. Enjoy your life.